Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we are going to be continuing my series of diving into some of the deepest, darkest, and creepiest secrets of some of the Grand Theft Auto 5 characters, and today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the members from the government agency. So specifically Agent Dave Norton, Steve Haynes, we've also got Karen Daniels, as well as Agent Sanchez. So those are the four characters we're going to be looking at today. There is a ton of crazy stuff that you might not know about these characters. Once again, if you go on to enjoy or find out something you never knew about them, be sure to leave it a like and let me know in the comments section who you'd maybe want me to cover next. But out of the way, let's not waste any more time and let's get it started. Okay, so let's start with Karen Daniels. Now in Grand Theft Auto 5, she is a pretty minor character. She has a little bit of a more enhanced role in Grand Theft Auto Online, as she serves as one of the lead of the heist missions that you do in-game, which is actually kind of really cool. Now, in Grand Theft Auto 4, she was an undercover government official who worked for a company called United Liberty Paper. However, we know by the time 2013 rolls around, she is the lead interrogator for the IAA. Now, not a whole lot is known about Karen's background. In fact, most of the information we get about her comes from Grand Theft Auto 4. And I'll even give you this fact right here. She is Niko Bellic'S girlfriend. So if you thought that she looked familiar in any way whatsoever, that's because Karen is actually Niko's girlfriend from GTA 4, which is super crazy. And we know in that game, she went by the name Michelle. Now, because in that game, most of what she told Niko was a lie, we really don't know a whole lot of information about her. She claims to be raised in the Midwest United States and apparently was blackmailed by the United Liberty Paper Company into becoming an agent from them. So she may have a past that might have some criminal connections to herself, which is crazy. So this notion is made more likely to be true by a statement from the United Liberty Paper contact, who said in exchange for working with them, they would quote unquote give her her life back, meaning that she probably had something to hide, possibly even a criminal past. So this innocent looking Karen, I guess not so innocent as you'll see in some of the cutscenes coming up, might have a real creepy criminal background that we don't even know about, but this United Liberty Paper Company certainly does. So there's a lot more evidence in Grand Theft Auto 4 that shows that she's a real genuine person and was likely blackmailed into working for the United Liberty Paper Company, like the fact that she was so nice to Niko and whatnot. But that's just a crazy background on her, that she could be a cold-blooded killer that was backgrounded by this paper company. Now, one thing that's very interesting about Karen is she likely references her past, including what she had to do to Niko Bellic in the Humane Labs raid Grand Theft Auto Online heist. So after finishing, she will mention that before she had to entrap them, cajole them, and force them with deportation. So she's clearly talking about a reference to how she got involved with Niko into becoming an IAA operative for the UL paper contact. So when she mentions entrap, control, and force them to deport, that's kind of what she was doing to Niko Bellic in Grand Theft Auto 4. So I think that's a very interesting comment she made right there. And if you didn't think of it, or you didn't catch that, you wouldn't have even known that that was related. Now, also, another very interesting thing about Karen is there's an unused asset of her in Grand Theft Auto 5 wearing a white bikini. Now, of course, for science purposes, I'll put them on the screen right now so you can see what I'm talking about, but this is like an actual model for her in game. So I don't know if there was supposed to be a mission where either she was at the beach, or maybe she was retired, or something where she was relaxing. I have absolutely no idea, because why would this be in the game if Rockstar weren't going to use it in some way? Because after the one mission that Karen really appears in, she appears in the Mission 3's company, and that's it, which again is something you're going to see coming up in a little bit. We don't see her after that, so we don't know what happens. So was there maybe a cut mission that infers she retired or was on vacation or something? I don't know, but these assets are in the game, and if you have GTA on PC, you can mod them in. And if you really want to play as Karen in a bikini, you totally can. You can knock yourself out. But I just thought that was one of the weirdest things ever. So she was such a mysterious character in Grand Theft Auto 4, and in GTA 5, she remains one of the most interesting characters in the game, even though she has such a minor role. Let's now move on to Agent Steve Haynes. He's, of course, one of the bad guys in Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the two main antagonists. So a little bit of background on him. He started in the FIB in 1993, and just after joining, he became a very highly decorated and high-ranking FIB special agent, to the point that he was given his own unit and became the boss of several well-known FIB agents, including Agent Sanchez and Dave Norton. So Steve Haynes is the boss of Norton and Sanchez, which I thought is pretty cool. Now, 5 years before the release of GTA 5 in 2008, Haynes was chosen to become the new host of a crime reality TV program called The Underbelly of Paradise. If you watch any of the TVs in game, you'll likely see Steve Haynes on the TV doing that show, and he became a celebrity because of this. So he's pretty well known around Los Santos for this show. However, despite all the accolades and decorations he received for his show, in 2013, he became infamously corrupt with his right-hand man, Andres Sanchez. In fact, Agent Haynes is known to be on the payroll of several wealthy and powerful people, including billionaire Devin Weston. So that's pretty cool. He's obviously one of the more corrupt characters we know in game, but that's some background on him that you might not have known about. Now, some very interesting information about Steve Haynes is after his death, spoiler alert, but the game has been out for 3 years, so if you didn't know this by now, I apologize. A news article will reveal that he was both unmarried and lived with his mother. So Steve Haynes in game, obviously this crazy guy, he's super angry at everything. He lived with his mom and was unmarried. So I think that's kind of funny right there. But did you know this is actually a reference to real life FBI director J. Edgar Hoover, who was also never married and lived with his mother until death. So that was pretty cool, and a pretty cool reference to the real-life FBI director right there. So another cool fact you might not have known about is that even though if the player chooses option A or option B, where Steve Haynes will live, sometime after a bleeder post will appear about Steve Haynes' death. Now, this is probably an oversight, but it can also be suggested that Steve Haynes died another way, even if you don't choose option C. So that is extremely interesting. Was there a secret mission or something that happens outside of the character's control where Agent Steve Haynes dies? So I thought that was very, very interesting right there. I mean, that would have been crazy. A possible secret mission where, Steve Haynes dies, but it's not by your doing. So I thought that was very, very cool. And also, Haynes is one of the few characters in the Grand Theft Auto series to survive a cannon gunshot. So there's only 3 others, including himself. Roman Bellic is one, Pathos is another, and Sweet Johnson is the third. So he's kind of in an elite group right there of 4 people that have survived a cannon gunshot. So now let's move on to Agent Dave Norton. So at the time when we first saw him in North Yankton, I did not think that he was going to be as an important character as he was. But he obviously turned out to be a very important character in the game. But very little is known about his background, other than the fact that he began working at the FIB at an unknown point in time. And at another unknown point in time, Norton was married to an unnamed woman. Although by the time we get to it in the game, Norton has divorced. Now, according to Lester, Davy's career with the FIB had been pretty unremarkable until the year 2004, when he discovered the whereabouts of Michael Townley and obviously made a deal with him in order to bolster his career. So the trade-off was Michael would live, he would take Trevor Phillips, and in return, Norton's career would be known for taking down the most wanted man in America. Now, we know that didn't go exactly to plan, but Norton still got the glory for killing Michael Townley, and that's mentioned several times throughout the game that he was living off of that past glory, but obviously that could have been one of the biggest accomplishments of all time for him. And while Agent Dave Norton doesn't have a death in-game, and he doesn't appear in the last mission either, the third way, there was a brief mention by him from Trevor that he needs to be assassinated. So in that mission, Trevor briefly mentions to Michael that he should assassinate Dave Norton as well because he's too powerful and knows too much. However, this idea is dismissed by Michael. So could have there been the possibility of killing Dave Norton? I think Michael has a soft spot for him because he really did give him a second chance at life, even though that meant moving him to Los Santos and fake shooting him and whatnot. So I still think that's really interesting, the fact that Trevor wants him dead. And who knows, maybe if the GTA campaign were to ever continue, we might see the end of Dave Norton somehow. Okay, and finally, last but not least today, we've got Andres Sanchez, who once again serves as the right-hand man to FIB agent Steve Haynes in-game. So there's 3 pretty cool facts about Agent Sanchez that I think you guys might be interested in. The first of which, his name is a play on words of San Andreas. So even his character is a parody of the place where they live. So I thought that was pretty unique. There's also unused data in the game that suggests Sanchez was a mobile phone contact for one or all of the protagonists. That could have been pretty interesting to see what his role could have been in sort of like an anti-Steve Haynes or an anti-FIB a role. That could have been pretty cool. And also, him and another character, D, are the only 2 characters to be executed by the antagonist in-game. And we know that Sanchez was obviously killed point blank by Steve Haynes in the game. So I thought that was some pretty cool information on all 4 of those government agent characters. I really like doing these sort of videos. I think it's so cool to kind of look into some of the dark and creepy secrets and mysteries of these characters. Like I said, if you guys go on to enjoy these series or you found 1 or 2 things new or interesting from it, be sure to drop it a like. Let me know in the comment section down below what characters you want me to cover next. And as always, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.